Without a doubt, it is the single most requested tutorial that I have had in a long time. 5-beat weaves. We're learning them today. Hey gang, Drex here from DrexFactor.com, and today I am finally going to fulfill a long-standing promise and do a full-length tutorial on how to do 5-beat weaves. Do make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell so you know exactly when I'm dropping my next video. But before we dive in, I just want to give a shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Emazing Lights, Flow Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can visit them all on the web by following the links down in the description of this video. Oh my god, so the 5-beat weave. Let's be real here, and this one's kind of a nightmare for people who are trying to go from beginner to intermediate spinning. One of the big problems here is that you're fundamentally having to rewrite a lot of the neural circuitry that you put down when you were trying to learn the 3-beat weave. In other words, you're basically rewiring yourself as to how to do a weave, so it's like learning the 3-beat weave again from scratch. But fear not, we'll talk about the theory of why the 5-beat weave works, as well as some practical exercises that will help you to start rewiring your brain in order to do it. So when we learn the 3-beat weave, we get used to a certain set of principles that repeat over and over again. Namely, as we're going from our right side to our left side, our right hand winds up on top, and as we're going from our left side to our right side, our left hand winds up on top. So what distinguishes a 3-beat weave from a 5-beat weave? Well, it's an extra degree of twist on each side. This means that each poi is completing 2 extra beats in the course of this move. Exercise 1. Doing the 5-beat with our arms. Okay, so straight up the easiest way to learn this is to not learn it with poi at all. It's to learn it with a prop that isn't flexible. So for example, if you've got a set of clubs or staves, they'll help out a lot. Or you can even just use your own arms. So let's imagine for the time being that I'm going to switch to thinking of my hands as being at the end of my wrists to my hands as being in my elbows. And then my poi are going to be my forearms and the poi heads are going to be my hands. Make sense? So I can actually do a 3-beat weave using this kind of arrangement fairly easily. You'll note I'm just twisting my right over my left and then my left over my right as I go back and forth here, yeah? Now if I want to switch this to a 5-beat weave, I'm going to have to do an extra degree of twist. So rather than having my left hand come around on top over here on my left hand side, I'm going to continue twisting and see if I can get my right hand further forward than my left. It's going to require a little bit of contortion, but it is doable. Now once I get to the other side of my body, I'm going to untwist and switch around so that my left hand is further forward than my right. Again, I'm going to turn to the other side of my body, twist around until I got my right arm on top, twist around until I've got my left arm on top. Go back and forth like this, going from the left side with the right leading to the right side with the left leading. This is going to start to prepare you for the kind of twisting and turning motions that you're going to have to do with the poi in order to accomplish this move. Now the good news is that the contortion that you do with the poi is not going to have to be as intense as this, but it is going to be moving your wrists a lot more than you're used to. Exercise 2. Twisting your wrists. Okay, so now that we can do this with our full arms, let's try localizing it just down to our wrists, because that is, after all, where the movement of the poi starts from. So I want you to start off by touching your wrists together, and I want your fingers to be pointed out to either side. This is going to be a recurring theme for this exercise. Now, go ahead and twist your wrists around so that your right hand fingers are pointing down, your left hand fingers are pointing up, right? Now we're going to straighten them out so that they're kind of parallel with each other, and then keep on twisting until the right hand's fingers are pointing up and the left hand's fingers are pointing down. This is about where we're going to be if we're switching from the left hand side of our body to the right hand side of our body, yeah? Cool, so now let's untwist this. So that means we're going to have both fingers go out to the sides, left hand's fingers going up, right hand's fingers going down. We're back to the bowl, and now we're going to switch to having the right hand finger turning up and the left hand fingers turning down, them in parallel, and then twisting around so that the right hand's fingers are going down and the left hand's fingers are going up. To get back to home base, we switch back to parallel, and then right hand's fingers going up and left hand's fingers going down, and then back to fingers going out to each side. So you're going to be really tempted to take a little bit of a shortcut here and try and make the fingers on the hand that are pointing down either inside or outside the fingers pointing up. That is, making sure that they are side by side so that when you get to this point where they'd be twisted, they aren't actually twisted like that, right? And the twisting is actually part of the exercise. So as you're coming around here, do make sure that you have that point of contact between your wrists, that the insides of the wrists are pretty much always touching each other as you go through this exercise, yeah? It's gonna be uncomfortable, and that's the point. You're trying to train your wrists to do something that is kind of new. Okay, so we can take this exercise and we can apply it to what we were doing in the last exercise. That is, if I'm over here on my left-hand side, I can twist around until I've got my fingers in my right hand pointing up and my fingers in my left hand pointing down. Carry it over to the other side of my body, twist around until I get the left hand fingers pointing up, the right hand fingers pointing down, bring it around to my left side, twist around until I've got the right hand finger pointing up, the left hand finger pointing down, come around to my right side, and retwist, yeah? That basically is what your wrists are going to be doing in the course of this move. Exercise 3, putting it together. So this is one of those moments when it's going to be super helpful to have poi that are two different colors. That way, as you're spinning, you have an easy shorthand for knowing when your right hand, that is my amber poi, is making a move, versus when my left hand, that is my blue poi, is making a move. Yeah? Okay, so almost certainly the first time you try this exercise out, what's going to happen is you're going to find that your two poi are going to fall together in timing. They're going to lose their split timing. The reason for this is that the hand that used to be your lead hand is not used to doing an extra beat on its own side. So it kind of stops moving for a second. Part of the work that you're going to have to do here is making sure that when you put in that extra twist, that whichever hand winds up on top is still doing an extra beat underneath your armpit, even though the arm is twisted around in that kind of uncomfortable position, right? That's just going to be a thing that comes with practice. Really focusing on thinking that, okay, my right hand does a beat behind my shoulder, my left hand does a beat behind my shoulder, right hand beat behind my shoulder, left hand beat behind my shoulder. Okay, so now it's time to put it all together. We're going to start from a home base of just doing a simple 3-beat weave because it's something that we're already familiar with and something that we can come back to after we've tried all the craziness, yeah? Cool, so to start off with, we're going to try going from the left side to the right side. What that's going to mean is that rather than having my left hand come around on top, that is my blue poi leading the way from left to right, I'm instead going to let my amber poi, that is my right hand poi, come around and it's going to lead the way, yeah? So as I'm doing this, what you'll notice is that turning from my left side to my right side, I actually have to make that transition happen much faster than I would if I were doing a 3-beat weave. With my 3-beat weave, I can extend my arms to slow it down just a little bit and see my way through it. Now that you're doing a 5-beat weave though, that is no longer an option. So you're going to have to react pretty quickly as this twist happens here. See the amber poi come around in front of your face and then make that turn, yeah? All the way around. As that's happening, don't forget to make sure that that blue poi is still doing a beat that goes behind your shoulder. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with that problem that we talked about earlier where the two poi seem to fall together in timing, and that's where you start getting tangles happening. Okay, so now let's try going from the right side to the left side. And this time we are going to use the exact same technique. That is, I am going to, rather than letting my amber poi come around on top, I'm going to poke that blue poi around from underneath, like so. Now again, you're going to have to make that transition pretty rapidly, but if you do so, you're going to find that it's a lot easier to get in that extra beat with the blue poi behind your shoulder, yeah? Okay, so with all that in mind, let's actually build up to doing a complete 5-beat weave. We're basically going to do so in small baby steps here, yeah? Starting from the 3-beat weave, we're going to start off by going from our left side to our right side. So that's going to mean that we're going to want to twist to the point where it's the amber poi that leads around, and then we're just going to return to the 3-beat weave for 3 reps, yeah? So as I come over to my left-hand side, I keep twisting until the amber poi leads, and I'm back to the 3-beat weave. Once, twice, 3 times. Now on my right side, I'm going to twist to let my blue poi lead, and I'm back to the 3-beat weave. Once, twice, 3 times, and then I let the amber poi lead from left to right. Get it? Essentially, we're switching that 5-beat back and forth between the left side and, of course, the right side. Cool, now let's try doing this on 2s instead of on 3s, yeah? So I'm going to twist from the left to the right, and that's once, twice, and now this time I twist around and I have once, twice, I let the amber poi lead, and once, twice, I let the blue poi lead, once, twice. So you want to try and see if you can get this to happen 10 times in a row without breaking your brain and without getting too many tangles involved, yeah? And then it's time to move down to only doing a single 3-beat weave in between, yeah? So if I let my amber poi lead, I do 1, and then immediately switch to the blue poi leading, I do 1, I switch to the amber poi leading, I do 1, I switch to the blue poi leading, I do 1, and I switch to the amber poi leading. Yeah? Cool, so if 1 rep of the 3-beat weave in between your 5 beats is feeling good, let's try and see if we can go full hog on the 5-beat weave, yeah? So I'm gonna do amber poi leading, 1, then blue poi leading, 1, and now I'm gonna switch straight back and forth between amber poi leading and then blue poi leading. Huzzah! Now I'm doing the 5-beat weave. What about the reverse 5-beat weave? So clearly if we've learned how to do a forwards 5-beat weave, there's the question of can we use these same techniques to learn a reverse 5-beat weave? And the answer is yes, but it gets a little bit trickier. See, the reverse 5-beat weave requires just a little bit more contortion than the forwards 5-beat did. The reason for this is that it's easier for our wrists to flex downwards, but harder for them to flex upwards. And the upwards flex is what we really need in order to accomplish the reverse 5-beat. But nonetheless, we can still use all the same techniques that we learned to use the forwards 5-beat to learn the reverse 5-beat. For example, we can start off with just our arms performing that reverse 5-beat, wanting to get around in such a way that our left hand is leading the way from right to left, and our right hand is leading the way from left to right, yeah? We can also, of course, use our wrist trick and get ourselves to the point where we get the right hand reaching under, going from left to right, and then the left hand reaching under, going from right to left, yeah? As you're doing this, you're almost certainly going to find already that there are certain parts of it that feel even more uncomfortable than the forwards 5-beat did. And to be perfectly frank, it's just a matter of doing the practice and getting more comfortable with these positions. Cool, so we can actually build up to the reverse 5-beat the same way that we built up to the forwards 5-beat. That is, start with the reverse 3-beat weave and pick a side that you're gonna switch back and forth across. I'm gonna start off by going from my right side to my left side, yeah? And what that means is that rather than waiting for that moment when my right hand poi, that is the amber one, is going around underneath my arm, I'm gonna instead twist around just a little bit more till my left hand poi, that is my blue one, is reaching around underneath. And remember, you're going to have to make that switch from your right hand side to your left hand side faster than you were used to for the 3-beat weave. And of course, we do the same thing over on the left hand side. So rather than bringing my blue poi, my left hand poi, underneath to lead from left to right, I'm instead gonna twist around and let the amber poi lead the way, yeah? Just like that. And of course, we can use the exact same exercise that we built up to the full reverse 5-beat that we did on the forward side. That is, I start from my reverse 3-beat weave here, and I start off on my right-hand side, letting my blue poi, that is my left hand, come around underneath, and I do 3 reps of a reverse 3-beat weave, and then do the full twist over on my left-hand side for 3 reps of the reverse weave, full twist on my right side, and 3 full reps over, then I twist on my left, and now I move down to 2 reps of that reverse 3-beat, yeah? So I do 1, 2, and twist on my left, 1, 2, twist on my right, 1, 2, twist on my left. And then we move down to just doing a single rep on either side. I do the twist on my right, I do 1 rep, I do the twist on my left, 1 rep, I do the twist on my right, 1 rep, I do the twist on my left, 1 rep. And when you can do 10 of these in a row, try and see if you can go straight back and forth between the twist on your left side and on your right side, yeah? Your elbows are gonna wind up pointing in some ways that you're not entirely comfortable with as you go through this, but you will get used to it with some practice. Okay, so one more thing right quick. and that's that if you got both the forwards as well as the reverse 5-beat weaves down, there's a really cool thing that you can do with the waist strap from here. So you know how when you're doing a normal 3-beat weave, you have the option when you're doing the waist strap of going down and around when going forwards to reverse, and up and over when you're going reverse to forwards in order to perform a full fountain, right? Well, the fountain looks really cool when you do it with a 5-beat weave. The reason for this is that as you're on either side of your body, whichever hand is connected to that side of the body, here it's my left hand, in order to go high or low, has to go more or less straight up or down, which means that the other hand has to wrap around it in order to get there. This is really just baked into the move, but personally, I think it looks super cool. Cool, so I hope that was helpful. More than anything else as you're doing these exercises, be patient. Remember, you're rewriting a lot of the things that have already been put in your brain. In the meantime, if you'd like more tips on how to improve your poi spinning, I have this awesome download available on my website, 10 things to improve your poi spinning today. Whether you're working on playing control, clarifying your patterns, or even just want to make your poi dance look better, there's a tip in here for everybody. Go check that out at drexfactor.com. Finally, before I send you guys off, I just want to send out some massive thank you to all of my awesome supporters over on Patreon. You guys are what keeps this channel alive. Thank you so much. If you dug this video, please hit that subscribe button to help my channel grow. Over here are some other videos that are similar to the one that you just watched. This one is one that YouTube thinks that you'll like, and this is a playlist of other videos that I've produced that are just like this one. Finally, if you want to support the work that I'm doing, I do have a Patreon. You can head over there by clicking right here. Thanks in advance, and peace.